On this episode, we're going to talk about ChocoPro 216, which is also dubbed as the farewell to Emi Sakura. As you know, she only came here for a short time, challenging for the Super Asia title, which she came up short against Balinaki. But this is a one match only that we're going to review, which is a called the Chocolate Rumble. Don't ask me why, but it seemed a lot of fun. We're also going to continue more with the collective with Joey Janela Spring Break, for the culture and Planet Death, whatever GCW. There's still a lot I haven't reviewed yet, but I'm going to get to all of them hopefully before the end of the week, of this coming week, but we'll see about that. However, we're also going to have a small discussion. Now, as you know, what's been going on in the wrestling world, Cody Rhodes is back with WWE. I know some of you are talking, why is Cody back as the image that we know in AEW? Well, there's a lot of talk about this. We definitely need to discuss a little bit about Cody's return as the AEW Cody that we know. But why did WWE allow him to go back? As you know, there's been talk that there were talks about changing his character from AEW to WWE, but there were those that even talked about keeping that image. But we'll talk about that near the end. But right now, I believe it's time for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Gerard here. So, let's begin with ChocoPro 216. As you know, we dubbed it as Emi Sakura's farewell Rumble match, where we will see her back in the US, possibly appearing in AEW. Now, this particular match is called the Chocolate Rumble. Basically, it's very unique in its own way. It opened up with Emi Sakura being the first participant. Now, you can say she should have showed up at the end, which is foolish. Well, yeah, but that's how it was. But the second participant is the one man that she lost to the to gain the Super Asia title, and I'm talking about Balinaki. So it started out strong until later we had Antonio Honda, who out of nowhere he comes out dressed up as Emi Sakura, but the only difference is he was wearing a blonde wig. I don't know if he was trying to be the I Dream of Genie thing, but it sounded like it, but it was weird. But but of course the next participant is Tokiko Kihara, who came in by storm using a somewhat version of the claw that the Von Erichs have used, which was very good. Then we have, of course, the chops of Sayaka Obihiro coming out. Basically, even though she tried to steal Emi Sakura's thunder by doing the chant, the clap, and the beat of "We Will Rock You," and of course, you know how Emi Sakura is. That's her jam. And of course, we got the silent one, Hagane Shino, who makes his bombastic explosion coming out, kicking all of everybody right in the torso. And then finally, we have, of course, one half of CDK, Emi Sakura's also tag team partner, Masahiro Takanashi. I thought it was a good moment. However, the best moment is when Hiroshi Trans Am shows up. Really fun moment. However, the best moment happened is when Trans Am started, when Emi Sakura was doing the boom, boom, tst, boom, boom, tst. Trans Am was singing to the song "We Will Rock You." I did not expect that. I thought that was a great moment because I didn't expect it. Everybody got in on it, and then later Trans Am tried to, of course, eliminate it. Then he eliminated Tokiko by an armbar. Now Antonio Honda must have been or eliminated someone because I lost track of him. But here comes, of course, as Balinaki calls him, the bastard, Chris Brooks, as always. He was a little disappointed to see Masa not wearing the CDK colors. He was wearing the purple pants that he wears with Emi Sakura. But they were able to eliminate Sayaka Obihiro, and then later the last entrance was of course Sarui. I thought she was pretty good. I mean, she has grown a little bit now. We have been seeing her less and less of her in ChocoPro, but she made her return. Just glad it happened. There was some good moments where Trans Am started doing meditation, but he got eliminated, and of course, Hagane and Balin got eliminated too in a certain aspect. But however, it was the hell. But of course, Masa Takanashi got eliminated too, thanks to Sarui. But Sarui got eliminated herself too. However, it was Chiko Shikawa that gave the helping hand when, of course, Chris Brooks tried to eliminate Emi Sakura, but it was his own arrogance that put his hands on the ref. Chiko Shikawa played ref, actually kicked them out and declared Emi Sakura as a winner. So she stood throughout the entire event as the only sole survivor. Now, as for the Jonkin, this one was a very difficult, but however, I thought that this would have been Balinaki's day, but I did not anticipate that he beat Masa. He beat uh, who else? I don't remember, but his opponent for the finals was Chiko Shikawa, and I did not anticipate that. But she was able to win this one. I did not expect it. So I'm very happy that it turned out that way. But of course, the biggest announcement took place with Emi Sakura. Now, if I mentioned this before, as you know, Got to Move is coming back after being gone for almost 2 years. They're going to be doing their first show on May 4th. Now, it's still unclear if this will be broadcast because of the environment of the venue where they're going to be in. It's still unclear, but hopefully we can see it. They normally have their shows broadcast on YouTube, so we'll see what happens then. But right now, I believe it's time to move on to, of course, Joey Janela Spring Break Part 1. Okay, so we got more on GCW with the collective Joey Janela's Spring Break 6 Part 1. This took place on the 31st of March. Now, I'm still trying to catch up with the collective. Now, let's go with the opening match. This is for the GCW Tag Team titles. We have, of course, Second Gear Crew consistent of Matthew Justice and, of course, Mance Warner, along with the Briscoe brothers, and then, of course, Nick Gage and Slade. Now, however, Mark Tremonti was not there, so Slade was the one person who actually picked up the slack, replaced him. So that basically means that if the titles could be lost in any to any of the other teams, but it was a pretty good match. However, I did not anticipate a whole lot because the thing is, I mean, they're both all teams are good, but it was them boys who actually picked up a huge victory to obtain these titles. As you know, they recently lost the ROH titles, so they at least got something in return. Now they're two-time GCW Tag Team Champions. Now our next match, we have AR Fox versus Blake Christian. This was a fantastic match. I mean, I love watching Blake Christian, and he is an amazing wrestler. So I think it was pretty good. I'm just, I was like not sure how this was going to turn out, but having Blake Christian kind of shows, okay, he's all heart. He's willing to step up with guys like R.A. Fox, and it pulled up, and there was a big moments where you thought the match was won, but it didn't. It was back and forth, but finally it was Blake Christian who picked up a really good victory against R.A. Fox. Now the next match we have is Mickey James versus Alec Catch. Oh boy, this match was great. I was like, there was the best moment where Allie grabbed Mickey James, you know what, underneath. And Mickey James grabbed back. I'm like, oh my God. I did not anticipate that, but I think the one thing that I did not see coming is where Mickey James made out with Allie. I'm like, holy crap. And she pulled up the DDT, allowing herself to win the match. I'm like, wow. I would not picture her doing that. I mean, all the years I have seen her wrestle, I did not anticipate that, but it was awesome. But the post match was great because here's what happened: there were fans that were booing Mickey James, but Alley Catch was telling them to shut the f up because Mickey was one of her inspirations, and basically saying if it wasn't for Mickey, there wouldn't be no Alley Catch. And I like, there you go. At least now people know. Shut the hell up. So I have to say that was a pretty good post match promo right there. Next up, we have the usual scramble match. Now we got 7 people. We have Nick Wayne, Jordan Oliver, Jimmy Lloyd, Gringo Loco, Alec Price, Jad Cartwheel, and Ninja Mac. Now, I have seen Nick Wayne, Jordan Oliver, Ninja Mac, and Gringo Loco. These guys have won like certain matches involving scrambles, but it's hard to anticipate how this is going to end up. But it was Nick Wayne who picked up the victory when he pinned his friend and someone he looked up to, I'd have to say, Jordan Oliver, and that's how it ended. I'm like, wow. Nick Wayne continued to impress us. Now, our next match, this is a special grudge match. We have X Pac along with Joey Janela taking on no, George X Pac and Joey Janela. Now, this dates back all the way during that one match, Heartbreak, I think, where Joey Janela turned on X Pac. And now they get their little revenge. I thought this match was great. I was really happy how this turned out because, in a way, we all thought the same thing. Because, in the end, Joey Janela once again low blowed X Pac to win the match. But X Pac, in the other hand, he's not going nowhere. He's gonna still stick around. And I'm like, hell yeah, I'm happy for that. Now our next match is for the GCW World for the GCW World Championship. I thought it was a really fun match. We had AJ Gray versus John Moxley because the thing is this: these two guys are nuts. I have no clue how this was gonna turn up until John Moxley did the Death Rider on the light tubes in front of AJ Gray and retained the title. I thought it was really insane, but it was great. I loved it. Now our main event is the GCW Ultraviolet Championship. This is between the Duke, John Wayne Murdoch, and Alex Colon. Now these guys have been at each other's throats before. There was a bit of a controversy about how the match ended the last time these two were together, and Alex Colon told the Duke the package things to get out of my place. So that kind of fits in. But however, the Duke attacked him first, tried to soften him up. But however, the Duke was able to prevail to win this title, and of course, do the same thing what he did to Alex Colon, what he did to him. So it kind of fits into the story. But however, this is more about how Alex Colon feels. I'm the guy who's the better deathmatch wrestler. But you look at a guy who's a veteran at it. So that kind of tells us the story. So the Duke wins this title. So let's keep moving on with the other GCW event, Planet Death. Okay, So the last review we got is Game Changers Planet Death. This one took place on the 1st of April, and it was hosted by none other than MDK, the leader of MDK himself, Nick Gage. And I thought it was a very interesting match. As we have our first match was a Type A death match with Slade versus Bam Sullivan. Now, to be honest with you guys, I don't know if I ever seen Bam Sullivan, but Slade was a freaking monster. You know, the way he fights in death matches, I would not have pictured that. But he was the one who won by pinfall, and it was over right from there. Next up, we got a thumbtack, kid pad, and light tubes death match between Cole Raddick and the Death Samurai Akira. Now, in recent time, Cole Raddick has been involved in death matches. Now, he is starting to get used to it. Even Nick Gage mentioned that he started to embrace it. And it was like, okay, it makes absolute sense. I would not have pictured him, but it looks like he is stepping up his game to be part of it. But I did not anticipate the outcome because I mostly pictured Akira to win because he seems like the fan favorite. But Cole Raddick, who is new in this type of style, somehow was able to pick up a victory against Akira, and Akira gave him some respect. I'm like, wow. I have to say, I give Cole Raddick props for really stepping up into this world. Next up, we got a Board of Fuckery death match with Sawyer Wreck and Brandon Kirk. Now, many people don't like the Kirks because they're a bunch of scumbags. But Sawyer Wreck had dealt with these guys in the past. But oh my god, Brandon Kirk was almost torturing her. The hell, I did not anticipate that. But it was Sawyer Wreck who picked up a good victory against him by pinning him. I'm like, oof, well, better luck next time, Kirks. Now, our next match we have is Light 2 Bundles Death Match. We have Neil Diamond Cutter versus Sean Mercer. I'm like, oof, man, this match was nuts. The way this match ended, I did not anticipate it. Mercer did like a Spanish fly with um, Neil Diamond right on his arms and ended it right there. I did not anticipate. Mercer is a freaking beast. That's interesting to see. I'm like, wow, kudos to that. Our next match, excuse me, we have the Lights Tube Death Match with Hoodfoot versus Madman Pondo. Now, I don't know who this guy is. Madman Pondo, I don't know anything about him. Hoodfoot, I've seen him before. But man, this guy was torturing Madman completely. I'm like putting like light tubes in parts of his limbs. That's insane. But he picked up a really good victory. I have to say, Hoodfoot is a good wrestler to watch. Now, our main event is the barbed wire door death match between Jimmy Lloyd and versus Sadika. Now, this was nuts. I can tell you, Sadika is insane. You know, you if you guys ever seen her, you have no idea what she can do in death matches. And I have to say, it was a pretty good event. I liked it. I did not expect Sadika to win, but she did. And of course, sending a strong message to the fan base in Spanish. I just don't remember exactly what she said. But I have to say, it was a pretty good show. I enjoyed Planet Death. But I'm sure we'll continue more with the Collective soon enough. But right now, let's talk about an interesting topic: Cody Rhodes' return to WWE. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Cody Rhodes. If y'all remember, not too long ago, Cody Rhodes made the decision to leave AEW. Now, this initial assumption is he wanted more money because the newer talent that were being signed, like Brian Danielson, CM Punk, They were getting more money than him, and that was what was going on. So basically, that's what it is. And then word was getting out that Cody was returning to WWE. Now, this is where it gets a little interesting. Many fans already predicting that he was going to return to his Stardust gimmick. Now, why is that? Now, keep in mind, when you go to WWE, they want you to abandon your old gimmick that you were in the independents. That's always been their ways of how they recruit people. And we all thought the same thing about Cody, that he may not be the American nightmare that we all remembered. Now, one of my friends who got sourced, don't ask me my friend's name, but let's just call him Jax. He got information that indicated two important people within WWE were saying they want to present Cody as the AEW Cody. Now, many of you probably say, why? Why would they want to present that? I mean, when it comes to recruiting people, Vince would probably say no. But think about it. The reason Cody was presented in WWE as the AEW version was because think about not the pop, but more of the people how they would embrace this Cody more than what they could have thought with him. Like remember the characters he had over the years. He had the one with he was wearing like a he looked more like a gay porn star, and then the one with the face mask and then Stardust. That kind of went was the reasons why because of character wise, and I think people wanted to see this Cody more than what they could have expected, and that probably would let it. And I think it was pretty okay, bringing this Cody. I was surprised, and I'm sure some of you out there were surprised that A, they allowed to use his logo, B, his theme song still looked the same when he was in AEW. So I know it's going to be difficult for many of the AEW fan base to see this. Now I know some of you WWE loyalists out there are probably laughing your faces off, saying, "Ha ha ha." Well, we don't care. Wherever Cody goes, we're happy for him. That's how it works. So that's what I think is going on with Cody, and I think I'm okay with the idea with him being as the AEW Cody remembered. But I just hope they don't switch it because if they do, they're gonna screw things up for him. And trust me, that's the last thing WWE needs. So I think that's pretty much it for this little discussion. I say let's move up to something I wasn't planning on to, but let's discuss another issue that took place with Stardom that includes Saudi's new group, but also an unexpected new member. Okay, now let's talk about Sudi for a little bit here. If you guys remember March 26th, after her match at World Class the Best against Julia, Sudi made and introduced her new bodyguard named um, Ami Soden. If you guys knew her, she was also known as Ami Miura. Originally, she was out for quite some time because of a knee injury. We didn't anticipate to see her. However, we saw what happened. Sudi made her decision to leave DDM to form her own unit, to follow her own path. And of course, Julia told her that it's not easy to be a leader, but gave her a warning that she will be coming for the red belt. Now, when she mentioned the new faction, she put Ami Soden as the first member. Now, I might have mentioned this. I did say that I have the strong possibility that someone from DDM is going to join her. And my pick was going to be Micah. But, however, I was only half right. It wasn't Micah who actually decided to to join Sudi's new unit that now she called God's Eye. I did not anticipate this one way or the other. The person that joined coming from DDM was none other than Mirai. Now, I did not anticipate that. I mean, Mirai has only been with DDM since January, since that initial attack that she did when she joined with Tekla, and it was kind of strange that Mirai immediately just jumped ships to join God's Eye. I didn't anticipate that. But however, she felt that, being with DDM was kind of like corrupting her a little bit, not being who she is. That kind of tells it. But of course, during the post match interview, along with her new stablemates, Mirai was confronted by Julia. But of course, she was right in front of Sudi and Ami. However, the one person that was affected by this decision was Mai Sakurai. Now, I'll explain a little bit what's been going on with Mai recently in this because you'd be surprised what's been taking place. Now, Mirai feels more happier to be part of God's Eye. I can't wait to see. But just to let you guys know, she will advance in the next round in the Cinderella tournament. Her first round was against Mina Shirakawa, but I haven't seen the event. But there's more that's been going on ever since Mirai actually made her defection to um, God's Eye. Apparently, Mai Sakurai broke into tears. They showed this on pictures in the Stardom Twitter page. However, it appears someone decided to take a jab at this. That one person is the one person that Mai Sakurai defeated in the first round of the and the same person who has a problem with DDM, and that is Lady C. Now, why is that important? Let's explain that a little bit. Lady C, for almost over a year, hasn't been with the faction ever since then. It was still unclear. She has been paired up with people from Queen's Quest, from DDM to um, Cosmic Angels, possibly Stars. But Queen's Quest, she's been mostly rare. Now, the initial assumption during her time is that we all thought she was going to join Cosmic Angels, but there were those that were saying it's a possibility she can go with DDM. Now, initially, from what it was revealed, Lady C was initially really thinking about it. However, her assumption was the attack that Julia made with those silhouette masks gave her decision to go to. But however, Lady C, on the other hand, decided to take a jab at Mai Sakurai's, sadness, feeling like she was being betrayed by Mai Sakurai, saying, now you know how it feels. Basically, she's reminding her how she was the one who betrayed the Cosmic Angels. So basically, Mai Sakurai doesn't see that as irrelevant. But many fans recently on the English Stardom Twitter are saying when they hear that she's crying because of what happened to Mirai making her decision to jump ship, there's those are calling it karma. Others are saying justice for Waka. If you guys don't know what that means, I'll explain it to you right now. When Mai Sakurai made her decision to leave Cosmic Angels and join DDM, that's when Juliet told her, say hi to your rival, and made her cry. So basically, now it's Mai Sakurai who's taking a taste of her own medicine after what she did to, of course, to Waka. However, Lady C tries to remember. You remember what was that like? How you betrayed Cosmic Angels? So basically, we could see a very interesting rivalry between those two. Now, that has been going on with Stardom, with DDM. So the real question does remain, like, okay, so will we see Lady C and Mai Sakurai? We know those two are gunning for the future belt, but I think the real question is who will be the first one to grab it. I have a feeling they're not going to grab it sooner because I think there's going to be a bit of a rivalry between these two. So that's been going on right now with DDM and of course the formation of the new unit, God's Eyes. So I think that's pretty much it right now. So I think let's call it a night. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. So coming up, we will continue more with the collective. I still haven't seen a whole lot. There are other wrestling shows that took place during WrestleMania week, and I will see those as soon as I finish with the collective. Those are the ones we'll be continuing afterwards. So pretty much, those are be on standby. So I won't. I will reveal which reviews I will do. But however, since we're getting close to Monday, I am going to do AEW Dark Elevation if it comes in, and of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling as well, since it's going to be brand new with Hyper something. But I can't wait to see that. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah, and have a nice day. Bang.